Good evening, sir. I'm Rahul Friscott Moralayo with matric number 147277, Department of Early Childhood and Educational Foundations, University of Ibadan. The course is STE 801, 2025-2026 session. The topic I'm about to discuss is t-test. T-test can be described as an inferential statistics instrument for determining the significant difference for the mean for using a different teaching method for one sample t-test for mean of two sample of two different independent groups, as well as to compare the mean of the same group at different times. That is what t-test is all about. Then we have three major types of t-test. We have the one sample t-test. Secondly, we have the two independent sample t-test. Then the third one is the two paired sample t-test. We now move down to the importance of t-test. The first one, it is normally used to test hypothesis when the sample size is small. Secondly, to determine the ratio of the difference between mean to the variance. And thirdly, to deal with the mean of each group, standard deviation, and the number of data value, that is t value. Common terminologies for t-test. We have the null hypothesis, the alternative hypothesis, the degree of freedom, the alpha level. Then characteristics of t-test. A t-test can be executed when the sample size is small. Secondly, when the population standard deviation is unknown. You can also use t-test when data follow a normal distribution, when you want to compare the mean of dependent and independent samples, when you also want to find out if the sample mean is different from the assumed mean. Then the last one is to know the confidence interval of a sample mean. But the focus of this study is on one sample t-test. There are usually four assumptions for t-test. The first assumption is to measure the dependent variable with continuous scale of interval or ratio. Secondly, it has independent data which are not correlated. Thirdly, no significant outliers. Then the last one is to distribute dependent variables approximately. You may go against some assumptions and still give valid results. So that is that about t-test. Thank you for listening, sir.